Welcome everybody to our drink and draw event tonight. Holiday greetings and greetings to everybody for showing up. Thanks for supporting our events here at the Wisconsin Veterans Museum. And before we get started, I just want to say thank you to the Wisconsin Veterans Museum Foundation for their continued support in all of our free programming that we offer. Not just our fantastic drink and draw events, but also our movie nights, our curator conversations, our trivia nights. So please, if you're interested in any of those events, look on our website and you can register for all those events there. But thank you again to the Wisconsin Veterans Museum Foundation and Miss Jennifer Carlson for supporting our free programming that we're allowed to put on for all of our great fans out there. Tonight, we have Yvette Pino. She is our arts curator at the museum, and she's going to be leading us through this drink and draw event. Yvette, I'm just going to turn it straight over to you and you guys can get drawing.
That sounds good. Thanks, Eric. All right, guys. I'm Zoom changed me up a little bit, and so I just need to check on my technology here. And I'm going to go ahead and remove Eric as a spotlight. So there we go. So again, like Eric said, welcome to Drink and Draw. My name is Yvette, and I'm going to be your resident artist for tonight. Of course, we're doing holiday greetings, which is why I'm wearing the cheesy hat. This might be the one time a year I actually get a little festive, but you're not going to be staring at my face all tonight. You're going to actually be staring at the drawings that we're going to make. We had a question at the beginning about supplies, and we had a few questions as we were leading up to this event. So we are doing holiday greetings, which could mean a ton of things. The images that we use for reference tonight come directly from the museum collection from something called V-mail. So back in World War II, in order to make the mail a lot smaller, they would use these templates, photograph them, and then they were able to send thousands of mail all in one lump rather than thousands of envelopes. So it saved on the logistics of bulk mailing. It also allowed for some of the artists in the units, in the battalions, to create these wonderful templates where a lot of folks would receive this mail back home and it wasn't their drawing. They would just sign it, love Bob or love Walter. And it was sort of like what we would have right now with if somebody drew something and we copied it and printed it out like pre-made greeting cards. And that holiday greetings can go from like several categories to, store-bought. This is hard with virtual backgrounds. Store-bought cards that come in packages, all the way to taking your materials at home and making your own greeting cards. So this is something I do, which is I cut up discarded prints. I'm a printmaker, and then I'll put them on cardstock or card and make my own cards. This is another example of just a cut up screen print that I have that I would turn into a greeting card. So this is cardstock. You can buy it at your local office supply store. Let's see, there we go. This is a 50 pack of red cardstock. You'll see the weight poundage on paper. This one is, it's usually cardstock is about 65 pound weight. So it's a little bit thicker and heavier than your regular drawing paper. However, sketchbook material works perfectly. So this is another kit for your supplies. This is colored pencils with a little sketchbook on the side here. When we are able to see each other live in person, we do have small drawing kits like this available at our museum gift shop. And so that's kind of what you need tonight. I have my iPad, but you can bring out, there's these wonderful watercolor markers that have a brush tip on them. These work really well for lettering. Paint markers are always a very good option. Any kind of marker that you choose, colored pencils, ink, pen. I prefer to work with ink, different colors of ink and washes. So really it's up to you. Tonight on my iPad, I'll mention the type of material I would use that wouldn't be digital. So the brush that's mimicking real life material. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen on the drawings, let's just get right into the drawing. Also, before we get into the drawing, if you have any questions, please utilize the chat box. I see Susan Cook does. If you want to go ahead and unmute I think you should be able to unmute yourself.
Sorry, I was just waving at my daughter, Ellen. Hi.
Oh, okay. Bye, Ellen. So you guys go ahead and remute yourself. But again, if you do have questions, Eric's going to be standing by watching the chat box, so he will chime in. He has full privileges to interrupt me. As you guys will see, I like to talk. I might be talking really fast right now. I will slow down. It's simply because I'm trying to get a lot of stuff out so we can get to drawing. House rules. This is a virtual platform. Please be respectful of all participants here. We're all here to have fun. I am doing a lot more instructional because over the course of the programs, if you've joined us before, we've had a lot of requests for a little bit more instructional. If you're a practicing artist and you just want to draw, the image will be on screen, and you can also find the images on our website. It should have been emailed to you. It's wisvetsmuseum.com. www.wisvetsmuseum.com, and it's in our blog section. Eric might be able to put that link in the chat for us. And then you'll be able to see all the images that I'll use in reference tonight. Okay, so I think we're set to start. I'm going to share my screen here. It'll be just 1 second as it starts to broadcast, and I'll go ahead and actually want to go ahead and I need to go ahead and make myself pinned on the top. So all right, everybody, if you guys are having trouble seeing this, feel free to let me know in chat. I can no longer see you guys now that I'm shared screen, so go ahead and please utilize the chat bar. I thought I'd start out by giving us some warm up with number one, sharing some of the images that we see in the collection in the V-mail that I was referencing. This is a Christmas greeting, and a lot of these come from World War II. So let me just make sure. And Eric, if you're there, if you could chime in and just make sure that I'm on full screen. So we've got holiday greetings, and I pulled up some more images that I'm going to go ahead and share with you. So we're going to work on that image here in a second, but here's some examples of some other holiday greetings that people might share when they are overseas. So we're going to be doing an incredible curator conversations on Monday about being deployed for the holidays. And we'll talk about how some service members, I'm an Army veteran myself, I was deployed twice, so I shared 2 Christmases overseas. And you find a way to find the, Christmas cheer wherever you're at. And this cartoon sums that up. Here's another example. We're going to have examples of Santa, and we're going to focus on Santa and the Jeep. One of the things is you could take the Jeep out and use the oxen pulling the cart. You can use a current, update it with a Humvee carrying Santa around the globe. Here's another one from Luxembourg. Ye old engineers of the 159th. And I pulled these up because they have different types of font using the season's greetings. This one I liked because there's a simple, we'll work on lettering at the very end, but this is a simple using X's to make your letters that makes it look like an embroidery pattern. And of course, I would like to remember the Hanukkah, those of us, our Jewish peers. Hanukkah believes I started yesterday. And if we have any of our Jewish friends joining us, feel free to let me know. I think we need to light the second candle today. And Hanukkah has many different spellings. So this is how this gentleman spelled it in 1944. I wrote down another version of how you spell Hanukkah with the menorah down below. And
We can see you on full screen. Just want to let you know.
oh, appreciate it. Thank you. And then we have one more uh, Hanukkah wishing happy new, actually not Hanukkah, happy new year with the Star of David and the Hebrew alphabet. I brought this one up and I thought what we would do as we started was to start with some of the flourishes that make the holiday greeting substantial. So if you wanted to just draw a little doodle or something in the middle, these holly patterns really can make wonderful borders. So I'm going to start by, we're going to work with the holly. We're going to use the scroll. We're going to use the scroll from the first, the Happy New Year. And to draw this scroll, it's fairly easy. What you want to do is you want to take, you want to just draw an S essentially. And then curl it around. This is one of the first things I learned how to draw when I was a little kid. I used to be obsessed with drawing scrolls once I learned how to do it. And then you just pull the same S down here. Don't complete it out. And then just bring that line over and connect it. And then you just draw these lines here. You can bring this up a little bit and create some shadow and then with lines to use some texture. And what I'm using here is just a pencil application for this initial sketch. And what I want to do is I want to start focusing on, you see this sample drawing here to my left, your left on the screen. We want to start drawing the holly. And holly is really easy to draw. We're going to start doing it to make a wreath down here. So I want to make sure I'm on the right layer. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. If I'm going too fast, please let me know. Oh, correct on the menorah. So it's the second night. So before we leave, we'll make sure I need to go ahead and draw in the flame on that second candle. Thank you, Jamie. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in on the circle. So I drew myself a circle. This application that I'm using gives me a nice clean circle. If you too want a clean circle, you can use a canned good, a coffee can, and just like we were in elementary school, set it down and then trace around it. So I'm gonna start up here and just draw a line. And then to start the holly, you're gonna just draw little stems off. And then as if you were coming around with a circle, make the curved edge here. And then curve your edge. So you're just connecting these lines with half circles. And then on the bottom, go up with a big half circle. And then I'm going to pull out another line. Just give me some stem lines. And then again, just these half circles. It's a really simple, delicate leaf, but when you start stacking them, and when I twist the canvas, it's basically my notebook is shifting. Go out with another line, come out and make these little stems, half circles. And then we're going to go with a big half circle to get that real thin area. This is the part that I always mess up on holly. I'm going to scroll over here. If I do the line out here, and then these little stem marks, half circle, circle. This area on the bottom, I always want to go the opposite way. I always want to go out like this. That's not like a regular leaf. That's not how you make a holly. This one, you want to go in. So you have that real narrow, curved, pointed diamond type leaf. And the beautiful thing about making this wreath is that you're drawing a bunch of these hollies together, so they don't have to be perfect. And if you had markers or colored pencils, so I could go ahead and start drawing this in the color of holly if I wanted to. I didn't have to do the preliminary sketch. I could actually go in with a green colored pencil and do the same exact thing. And start building up my layers of color that way. There's no right or wrong here. The only thing I would say is if you are choosing to paint, I would give yourself a preliminary sketch first. Just because you want to give yourself room to mess up. I have a tendency to make these leaves bigger than they should be as I start getting down. So I'm just going to do this curve. And for the sake of time, I'm going to start and show you what I'm doing, but I also have kind of got myself some pre-drawings going ahead. So we'll come through and you'll see, you'll start to get a groove. Some folks are much more detail oriented. I really respect that. I'm much more of a sketcher. I use a lot of quick line work. That's just the way my style is. What you'll see here on the holly is you also have the berries. And I'm going to change my color because this is where you get that pop of color, the red berries. You always want to work in odd numbers. So go in like groups of 3 or 5. It's just more aesthetically pleasing to go with odd numbers. For holly, I like to stick with the 3. So you can see that's already starting to build itself up, and we'll have to bring ourselves down through the curve. So I had some that I started earlier, so I can take this off. You can see I was really starting to make that layer come together. And as you make your way around, you're going to just keep adding more and more depth to this and bulk it up. So I'm going to zoom out on the reference drawing. What we'll want to do is make our way all the way around the circle. I'm going to go ahead and start working on the bow here. So you'll see this bow right here on the bottom. I'm going to get back to a graphite color. So I'm going to look at a layer real quick that I can take off. So I'm just going to look at this, divide my circle here so I can see the center point here. And then I'll take this, I'll go back to this layer. So we'll just start right here and we'll do this little square. It's all about just building shapes. And then you just go out like you're going to do a big triangle, the squared off triangle to make this bow. You can get creative with the bow if you want to do a different style bow. Pull out your Christmas decorations and use those as a still life for reference on this. And then pull it out. You can see I get really sketchy here. I like to do a lot of sketch marks and then fill in with color afterwards. If I'm doing this with a regular pencil, I would do it a lot lighter. I'm still learning how to deal with pressure points on this iPad. So it's drawing on glass. So it's a different texture for me than drawing on paper where I can actually feel the graphite being absorbed into the paper. So we're going here. And you can see I kind of twisted it a little bit. I probably should have twisted it. I can do this because I'm on the iPad. When you're on pencil and paper, you have to just sort of watch, take your time and step back. Often you just want to stop and pause while you're drawing. Take a look at what you're doing, see if you're heading in the wrong direction, if you're starting to change angles. Sometimes that helps to prevent you from having to basically stop and start all over again. Here, I have the luxury of having a digital platform where if I don't like it, I just start a new layer fresh and I'm good. And I can draw on top of other layers. What I'm going to do here is I think I'm going to finish out the holly on the left, and then I'll do a time check with Eric. It looks like we're right at 7:23. So I'm going to spend a couple more minutes on this. I just really wanted to sort of help you look at, you know, holly and how easy, you can see how easy it is to draw the holly, the decorative holly that I showed you in this example up here. You just build up, and then as we added color, you can already see how it's starting to make this drawing come together. I'll take off the second scroll so that doesn't distract, but you can really start to see how it already, to me, looks delicate and beautiful. And you could go in with another color. So if I added a layer, we could color in the scroll, make it sort of a golden color. If I had watercolor, I would do a wash, so I'd have some transparency. I'll change this to a watercolor brush here. So we've got a nice watercolor. So I can do it on a layer down below. So if you wanted to think about color, you can start coloring in that scroll and adding a beautiful sort of gold tint to it, give it that parchment feel. If you were working on paper, and let's say you wanted to do this drawing on a piece of paper and glue it to a cardstock card, you could use some beautiful gold leaf stamps, or there are some inks that have the metallic edge to them. So you could really start to get in to super Christmas decorative mode and make it glimmer and shine like a golden red Christmas for sure. So I'll add some color there. I want to go and show you some opportunities with using holly in general and drawing up layers. I'll take the other scroll off. So I was just working on what it would look like on that one, this particular, I must have deleted it. It was the four, there it is. Oh, it disappeared on me. That's right. I won't spend too much time on that. But if you had that drawing that had the four hollies and then it had the cartoons on the center, you could go in with white and do the bells that were on there. So you could go in on with the bells and draw the bells with white and start drawing in some of those other cartoons that were in there and make another fun card on this one. Of course, I'm doing this really quickly. We would do a little bit more detail and take a little bit more care. But that's an option. As we go back to, if I'm going too quick, feel free to yell at me, scream at me in the chat box. So I'm not sure where my color went on this, but there you have it. We have some flourishes with the holly that you can go around and make this wreath. We'll talk about some letters with the Christmas greetings at the very end, because I want to go ahead and get into the Santa on the Jeep drawing. For now, I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen. I want to take a look at folks, see how you're doing. Again, if you go to our website at the westvetsmuseum.com and go to our blog with the holiday greetings, all of these images are on there. So you'll be able to see them as reference. They stay up for a couple of weeks. So for example, we just worked on this one. If you look at my screen here, we just worked on this holiday greetings with the wreath. I think the tag, to the allies coming out of the stocking that is Italy, is a wonderful addition to this greeting. Has some great reference to where this service member was stationed. I think this is a Slansky. Oh, we want to share. Okay, hold on just a second because I have to go on to my, let's see. Diane, I'm going to go ahead and pin you real quick.
I can tell you that Target,
Diane, hang on just a second. Okay, you want to hold your drawing? There's so many people. Hang on.
Target is not going to hire me as a graphic designer.
Oh, that's okay. So let's see. Who's showing me? I'm sorry, Diane and Carol. I don't know why it is. All right. There we go. There we go. Diane, show us your drawing. I love it. See, here's the thing. Here's the difference between you and me, that why yours is so special. I draw so wild. I always end up off the page, and I was unable to get the hollies in that really delicate. I think that one's beautiful on the scroll. If you were to cut it out and then put it on a piece of red, like textured red cardstock, it would be really pretty.
I could do it over and do it better.
Oh, I challenge you. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Let's see. Diane, I'm just looking at your name because I need to make sure.
I think we should look at Dana Christopherson.
I know, right? We did.
No, that was Diane Christopherson. I'm mom. I would like to see the daughters.
Oh, okay.
Because she is a graphic designer.
Ah, gotcha.
I'm mute.
Eric, are you on here? Are you able to
I'm here. What you need?
Yeah, well, for some reason, I don't know. I've been trying to spotlight these folks, and I'm not, because of the way they changed it, I'm having to be host on my iPad, and I don't function on the iPad as well as I do on my other laptop that's up. So I think we finally stopped spotlighting
for a few minutes. If anybody else wants to share those real quick, I can pin your video.
Thank you.
No?
Okay. No, well then let's get started on the next one. Let's keep on keeping on. Thank you, Eric, so much. Oh, there's one. Okay. Oh, see, that's lovely. And then you went off, Pamela. We had you for a minute. There we go. I think that looks lovely. You got the red bow in there. How are you guys doing with colors? I really wanted to add some more color, but I like to build up my layers, and I run out of time in this short little time frame. I got one, folks. How do you get the right page on the website to see the images? Okay, so if you go up to the top right on the web page, it should say blog, and then you click on the blog, and then it'll come up with all of our blogs, and it'll say holiday greetings. And then click on that and you'll be able to see all of the images. Yeah, and I love to build up layers of color. I think especially with the green on holly, when you add a little red, it gives it a lot of depth. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pin my window again. Let's do this. So if you guys still can't get to the website for the images, we'll go ahead and put Eric, if you can put the link to the blog on the chat for me, that would be great.
You read my mind. I was right in the middle of getting the link. I'm posting it right now.
You rock. Thanks, man. Okay, guys, we're going to go to drawing 2. So let's head over to my gallery. All right, so now I'm going to pull up my reference drawing. So we're going to focus on Santa in a Jeep. You guys got to see the animation at the beginning while you were waiting for the program to start. What's really great about this digital program is that it records everything I'm doing. So as I was doing our preliminary practice drawings, it recorded every step and it made it into a wonderful animation for you to see. So we're going to do best wishes for Christmas season with Marine Corps Santa. So I really loved this drawing. I loved the exaggeration. I loved the use of a Jeep. I also grew up with my father in the Army. So I grew up watching Jeeps and falling in love with all of the Jeeps in MASH. So this image just called out to me for holiday greetings. What you see on the screen here is a grid. One thing, Hannah, who was our guest artist a couple months ago, was really good about spacing out her area. I just mentioned I like to draw off of the page. That often happens because I don't do my prep work, which is setting the stage for keeping myself in a grid to remain on the page. So the green line is this green line here. Let me make sure I'm on the right tab. This green line here is center line. And I just centered it in half. And what you look at the Santa drawing here is that he pretty much splits the page. We're going to go back to my sketching technical pencil. And we're going to go back to graphite color. So he splits the page, and then I'm just going to go in here, and the pink line is where Santa's body is, so to the right. So I'm going to start a new layer so I can start drawing just for the sake of time. So what I'm going to look at is this blue line. If you guys want to grid out your paper, feel free to. You don't have to, but this is what I did to help me keep all of the parts of the drawing on my page. So Santa's head, I'm going to start out by just giving me some preliminary line work. His head falls in about this quadrant here. So I'm going to give myself a circle, and then his helmet is just is a big circle. So I'm going to do the full circle for his helmet to give me some lines. And then just give me some line with a triangle to indicate where his beard's going to go. And then because this is using perspective in some ways, I'm going to go ahead and give myself some vanishing points. So this green line is pretty much what we said was halfway. So I'm going to make this a little bit darker. And I'm going to put a point out here and then another point to the back. And then I'm going to pull just to this pink line because it's not quite to halfway. This where the light is. So I'm going to draw an angle coming out down here. And then I'm going to go back. I'm basically making a box for us to go off of. And I'm going to do another point up here. And I'm going to pull this line out here. And I might have gone a little bit too far down up here. And I'm terrible at perspective, you guys. So you're going to be right there with me on this. And then we're going to come down and make the grill here. Grill the Jeep. And you can go straight line. I'm going to make another point, and then I'm going to go down about the same amount. The grid helps because you can count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to do the same angled line over here. And we're just going to go out back to the horizon line there. And then back here, you go straight up and down. So if you've ever worked with perspective, when I talk about vanishing point, if you're looking out to the horizon, when you look all the way back, objects will get smaller as they get further away. And if you put a point on the vanishing line, that gives you your point to start making things smaller and narrower as they get back. But then as you pull it out, all the lines should remain perpendicular, going up and down. So we're just going to make this box here to give us our little shape. And then I'm going to put this point here and do a little cross line here. So this gives us our little box of which Santa's going to be driving his Jeep. And I think the Jeep's a little bit wider, but I'm going to go with what we've got right now. I can always adjust it after. And if you're not sure on how to do these wheels, you can make yourself a little rectangle and then just curve it out. You can draw where the wheel would actually be in space, and then we'll take that out after. And then we'll draw a little wheel back here. Got somebody in the chat. Let's see. Eric put the link in the chat if you guys want to go to if you need reference for the website, it's up there now in the chat. So we've got our basic Jeep set up here. I'm not going to go into the details. I'm just giving myself my outline of what's here. And Santa's body is basically going to start out just as a square. And I'm going to do another square here just to indicate the top of his arm. And then we'll go with another rectangle, bringing down to the elbow, get his hands around that steering wheel, and another circle. So these are just really quick sketch outlines of where his body's going to be. Just giving me some points to focus on. And his head, of course, we know is exaggerated, like a caricature. We know that his head is not twice as big as his body. That's the fun part of this drawing. So I think we've got a good start for the outline here. And then the yellow line that I made up here is going to be our 2 points for our best wishes for. And then these blue lines are going to be for my Christmas season. So we'll get to the words here in a little bit, but for the sake of getting into the heart of the drawing, I'm going to take those grids, those colored grids off. Let's see here. Oh, and thank you, Eric. I did remind everybody in the invite for this event, if you want to send holiday greetings, I mentioned I was a deployed soldier. We do open those cards and we do read them. And it is really amazing to get a gift package over the holidays when you're a deployed soldier. Please do not forget our troops overseas. Eric is putting some really great links in the chat for how you can send service members overseas gift packages, Christmas cards, holiday packages. Feel free to write a letter, and don't be surprised if you get a letter back. I try to write back every person that wrote me, even from sources that came through Red Cross, Operation Christmas Card, Operation Gratitude. You can literally type in gift packages for soldiers and see some really great programs out there. So let's make our holiday greetings tonight, and I challenge you all to maybe draw them and send them out to our troops. That's my little plug for our troops overseas right now. I was lucky enough, my first tour in 0304, I got to come home for Christmas, kind of by the luck of the draw. And if you want to hear that story, you have to come to Curator Conversation on Monday, because that's the story I'm sharing. So that's my shameless plug for Monday's event. Okay, so we've got a Santa here. If you look at this, I'm going to try to make this a little bit bigger here, this reference drawing. We've now got a really probably narrower Jeep than we should. I probably should make it a little bit wider, and I can do that in our preliminary drawing. I'm going to go ahead and start a new layer just so I can really start to draw on top of this and really build in. I want to get Santa's head and the helmet, because I think on these types of drawings, the helmet, anybody that's drawn military uniforms, I always have problems with the helmet, or what I call the Kevlar. So let's start a new layer here. And I'm going to zoom in on my drawing. And I'm going to just start working it out for this helmet. And I'm going to go a little bit, I'm going to change my pencil to, I actually think I'm going to go inking. So I'm going to, if I say I'm switching to inking, this would be like using a beautiful fine ink pen or a studio pen. Like a fine tip Sharpie is the good example. I use the, the more expensive drawing repeatograph pens, but a fine tip Sharpie would be a good example of how this would work. Or even I use India ink with nibs as well. But honestly, you'd want if you're not on a digital platform or you're not good at drawing, you want to do your full drawing in pencil first. Don't go straight in with ink. Because obviously, unlike pencil, it's not forgiving. You can't go in and erase. If you want to be adventurous, do it. I mean, that's how I learned how to draw, was just dive right in. Don't be scared. It's just a drawing after all. So I'm coming around here. And this is tough if you're beginning, if you're just starting out in drawing. This type of shape is often really hard to understand. You have to do a lot, play around with adding circles on top of circles. And you just start to get a feel for it. So you can see, and here is where his head comes in. We want to do the little shadow where the helmet is, sort of brim of the helmet. Come around. And his beard starts. So I'll zoom in on you can see on our sample drawing here to the left. And this area here, I feel like needs a little bit more of an arch, an exaggerated arch. It's I'm gonna erase it here a little bit. I just think it needs just a little bit more exaggeration. It's almost like an eyebrows raised. He used I might have gone too far that time. I'm gonna go with it. It's a caricature after all. So I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna come back around here and square that off. Make a little shadow. Okay, now Santa's hair is coming out. Look at that. I love these little squiggly lines of the shadow of Santa's hair. Santa's got style in this drawing. He's not, on Marine Corps regulation haircut in no way, shape, or form, but he's got style. He's got the swagger of a Marine. All right. It was fun. If any of you were here when we did cartoons with Hannah, this drawing reminds me of a lot of the work she was doing with her cartoons, this sort of exaggerated look. Okay, so if you've ever worked on faces, I'm going to go ahead and go to my guide layer here. I'm going to go ahead and give myself some reference. So if you work on faces, getting the proportions of faces is practice. So this is the circle. Then I'm going to split it down. I'm going to use the curve of the circle and split it down the middle there. Then I'm going to split it again halfway. Although I don't think Santa and his caricature is following the rules of proportion, but we're going to use this to help us. I'm going to put his ear. So now we'll go back to our drawing layer. I'm going to put his ear up here before I forget. So since we came halfway here, you see his nose has this wonderful curve, almost like a half circle there. And then another, he has such a cute bulbous nose in this drawing. I love it. And I just don't think I'm going to be able to get the smirk that the Santa has, but I'm going to try. He's got beautiful, beautiful, big cartoon eyes. So we'll put, this is almost like Santa before the beard. Looks like what he would be when he was still an elf, a little kid. And you can do your own caricature version on this. I'm obviously not going exactly like this drawing. But here is where we're going to get fancy. So we've got to get the mustache and we're going to go out and curl it. So straight line here and come out and just join that curly Q up there. And then his little lip down here. All right. Now here's the trick. I'm going to try to get this beard. This happened to me earlier. If you might have seen it in the animation, I got so excited about overemphasizing this caricature that Santa was so big, I had to reduce him down in order to fit back on my page. But I like the exaggerated beard in this. So we're going to bring this and swoop it down. So let me take that preliminary drawing back and back. So yeah, now Santa's starting to come together. It's always exciting. I can even go a little bit higher up on the helmet, I think. There we go. So we've got Santa's face here, I think is really starting to come together. We're looking at 750. I'm gonna keep working on the drawing. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. All right. So I'm gonna come back up. So I'm back here. We're at 750. Obviously, I knew the Santa drawing was going to take a long time. So quickly, not to waste more time, I'm going to keep working on this drawing for a few more minutes. So if you guys want to stay with me, keep working on this drawing. I don't want to rush it out. I do want to toss it to Eric really quickly to talk about some upcoming programs. So while he's doing that, I'm going to go back to my drawing and tell you about the programs that are coming up next week through the Veterans Museum. And before I do that, in case any of you do need to step out right at 8 o'clock, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. This hour goes by incredibly fast. It always does. Yes, and Pamela, I will touch base on lettering as we wrap up for the evening. I promise as soon as I get back to drawing, I'll touch base on that first thing. So thank you again, all of you, for being here tonight, and feel free to share with me your drawings. We'll put, oh, thank you, Megan. We'll put my email in the chat. So if you guys want to email your drawings later on, I love to see what folks do at the Drink and Draw. I am at the museum looking at art made by veterans every day. So any art that I get come my way, I love to view it. Eric, do you want to go ahead and talk about the upcoming programs?
We're just closing out the year of 2020, and we're kind of fitting everything in the next week with the holidays the week after that. So we got a lot going on next week. Like Yvette said, we have our curator conversations on Monday, and we're going to talk about being deployed for the holidays, not only personal experiences from of our staff, but also a lot of great Wisconsin history in there that we have documented at the museum. And then the very next day on Tuesday, we have our trivia night. And then at the end of the week, we have our movie discussion night as well. And we are talking about Joy Noel, which is a European film that documents the 1914 Christmas truce during World War I at the front lines. So that's really great. So if you want to sign up for any of those events coming up, you can certainly do that through our website. We would be more than happy to have as many people show up for our holiday programming in this final week that's coming up next week. I don't want to take up too much of Yvette's time. I know she's going to keep working, and anybody who wants to stick around, you're more than welcome. Yvette, I'm going to turn it right back over to you.
Thanks, Eric.
No problem.
All right, so I'm starting to share screen in about 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we'll go back here. We're back on the Santa. Okay, so we're back here. We had a request on touching base on lettering. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat here, and I'm going to go through and show you what I drew before, which is interesting because it's not showing up. So that's okay. We're not gonna waste time on that. What I'm going to do is pull back up my grid. So in my grid here, you can see what's tricky about, if you look at these letters, I spent a lot of time learning calligraphy a while back, so I got really good at it. And calligraphy uses different types of pens. So I'm actually going to go to another drawing I did. Let's see. I actually think it was on this drawing that I had some. Yeah, so if we look at this layer, I'm going to put a red background. So I have an application in here that I can use a calligraphy pen, and this brush pen does this really nice, if you use the side of the pen, you can get this really nice, wonderful flowing movement. So the watercolor pens markers that I was telling you about, they have a brush tip, and it's really the key to lettering is how you hold the pen. Oftentimes, if you're using these watercolor markers, you have to go at an angle in order to get a thicker line. So it's how you bring up the line to get a straight line, or if you add different weight at different angles, you get a thicker line. And it's about the flow of your hand. So I'm going to come down with a line and curve up. Then I'm going to go up at an angle and pull around. There's a really great book that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. I spent a lot of time with practicing calligraphy, and it's just a speedball textbook for calligraphy. This Happy Holidays was made with a different sort of brush. It's this script pen, I believe. Nope, let's see. Interesting. Of course, like now I want to use the one that I used and I can't find it. Well, there's a pen that has the angle that it's got a chiseled angle is what you'll hear in calligraphy. And it has a slightly square edge to it and a very fine, real chiseled at the end. So what you do is you hold the pen up at an angle and then come down, and you get these wonderful thick lines. Now, I'm going to go to, here's another example of that. And I fear that I feel rushed, so I'm not giving you a beneficial instructional on letters. I will say there are some incredible videos online. Tila every Tuesday teaches some really fun watercolor brush techniques for script lettering. I'm going to show you how I practiced when I was a kid before I was familiar with the fancy pens and when I didn't have access to fancy pens, how I learned how to do this script. So these little tick marks you can see here, let me take that off. These little tick marks that you can see here, I did to give myself measurement to make sure that I got the word all the way in. So I created this half moon shape that you can see. I'm gonna go with a different pen now. And essentially what I did is this type of letter, you would use a calligraphy pen and do the movement, like I said, with the chiseled line, it would make that thick line so you don't have to do outlines. That just automatically makes the letter. Because I don't have that in this example, I'm going to use the shapes to fill out the calligraphic letters here. So this is just a rectangle. And then all of these is a lineup. What was lovely about this font, I thought, was that these all came out to be almost like little Santa hats on the end. So the flourishes is the other part that takes a lot of practice and skill. And the flourishes is that the little curve and lines that you see around the other fonts. And the trick with lettering is also your spacing. So then this is just a little square movement down here at the end. And then again, you have that little rounded triangle. And then after you do your outline, you start just filling in those rectangles. Now, again, this is the only way that you only do this when you don't have the calligraphy marker at your disposal. This is actually designed to be done with a very specific marker, a very specific pen with the nib, so that it's just free flowing. And if you want, Pam, because I just feel guilty that I'm rushing through this and it just doesn't, it won't do the calligraphy justice. This is just the way that I learned how to do the script when I didn't have access to the marker. Ours are difficult because it always seems strange that it's so disconnected, but it really does come together. I can, thank you, Patty. Pam, what I can do is I can make sure I can get you a link to some really great tutorials that show you step by step. Okay, good. I will, yeah, and feel free to email me. I'll put my email in the chat here. I can get you tutorials for step by step for these letters. I'm gonna type my excuse me. But essentially you end up just being able to go through and fill in the colors afterward. All right, let's see here. I'm so grateful all of you guys joined tonight. Do any of you guys want to show your drawings? Excuse me. I had eggnog with whipped cream. Did anybody else bring eggnog tonight? All right, Miller. I love it. I get to drink after we're done. So this is my good girl eggnog. And then when I'm off the clock, maybe we'll put some Christmas cheer in it. Rachel Byington, let me see if I can spotlight you. Oh my gosh, I love that. Look at that. Did you do that? I love that. What kind of colors was it? Was it watercolors or markers? I just love the
This is a combination of paint, colored pencils, crayon, and markers. My son wants to show his too. There's
Yes,
my son.
please. I love it. You put the full Santa outfit on it. Oh, and the camo. And that's a great Humvee. Oh my God, that's great. Thank you for sharing. I love both of those. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Bye. You guys have a happy holidays. Thank you. Oh, I see another one. I just scrolled up. Okay. Lori, I'm going to put you up. You, nice. I love it. The candy cane. You made Santa's list, or did I make Santa's list? That's what I'm wondering. I love it. Is that pencil?
That is pencil. That's all I've got right now.
Oh, I love it. Keep working on it. That's
Thank you.
exciting. Anne, I've got you. I love the list on that one, by the way. I loved that you used both of them and combined them together. Oh, look at the flowing beard. See, I go crazy. His beard would go off the page in a wraparound if it were up to me. And I just love the softness. You even got the USMC on it. And you started getting the Happy Holidays lettering. That is great. You use watercolor on that one? And that's lovely.
No, I started oil crayon with the green.
Okay.
I didn't use any grid, but I thought, oh, wait a minute, I got to get my angles in there. So I switched right to pencil.
Got it.
And when I was confident, I would go back to like pen and ink or ballpoint pen or oil crayon a little bit.
Yeah,
But
you can.
This is all started out as pencil. Thought, no, I got this. So I went over the top with ink right away.
Yep. That's the thing. Once your hand starts to, I really didn't do it justice on the, because I'm, like I said, I'm still learning this texture on the iPad. It's not as giving as paper where you can feel that movement. Once you really start to feel the movement of the letters, it just comes together. That's why calligraphy videos are so mesmerizing, to just watch the hand and sign painting, sign lettering. I love it. I think you're in good shape. Keep going on that one. Anybody else want to share?
Dana.
All right, I got you on this. Everything's working better now. Oh, you got the Old English lettering going too. That is wonderful. And his beard's like the one I drew. I love it. He's and then he's got the extra bulbous on his hat too.
Yeah.
How much fun is that? Oh my gosh. I love it because it almost looks like the toy tin cars too.
Yeah, I'm not great at drawing cars, but
please, you saw what I was doing. Mine's still just a box and a wreck right now. So, good job. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. One more round. Oh, I see you, Rachel. Give me 1 second. There we go. Oh, Christmas tree on the scroll. I love it. We got watercolor on there, or that's oil pastel?
No, marker, crayon, paint, and coloring pencil. I couldn't fit the fireplace, so I had to do a makeshift tree.
I love it. I see how the wreath turned into the tree. It's so beautiful. It just morphs right into it.
Right.
I like the hint of gold on the scroll too. Wonderful.
Yeah, and then it just says Happy Holidays up at the top and bottom.
See, you just got to put some glue stick on a card and mail it my way, and I'll love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna go ahead and bring myself back. This has been really fun. I think, as you know, please join us again. We're gonna be back in January. I think I'm gonna be doing Dazzle Camouflage. So if you hadn't heard what Dazzle Camouflage is, it was in World War I. The ships were painted with these crazy angled painting and geometric patterns. Some of them were painted to look like paisley socks. It was ridiculous. So we're going to be doing Dazzle Camo to bring in the new year, to bring in some joy to 2021. And then starting in February, we're going to be bringing some guest artists back. I'm booking them as we speak. Amber Hoy is an Army veteran and a beautiful printmaker and photographer. So she is working with me to prepare something. And I've got a couple other artists under my sleeve that I'm hoping will agree to come join us. So always the first Friday of the month, keep an eye out on social media for the links to join. And please remember to wear your mask and stay healthy and safe. Be safe during this winter weather, wherever you may be. And shoot me an email, tell me hello, let me know you're okay. Have a wonderful night. If I don't talk to you at other programs, have a happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, whatever your heart celebrates, may it be joy. Thank you so much.